Let's start with what is we've been seeing a lot of, yet we've been ignoring. And now that more information is coming out, I want to keep tying all these together. Do you guys remember this woman?
Stacy also went public in 2024 with accusations that Trump groped her in 1993 in front of Epstein at Trump Tower. Allegations, of course, Trump has denied. You did share disturbing details about that alleged incident in 1993. That's when you said Trump groped you in front of Epstein at Trump Tower, which you just referred to, Stacy. And you say that at the time, Epstein and Trump looked at each other when this happened to you, and they smiled. And that to you, in that moment, it felt like a weird and twisted game. And then you say Trump pursued you afterwards, sending you a postcard with a picture of Palm Beach, saying, "Stacy, you're home away from home. Love, Donald." Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, what did you mean, or what did that feel like when you say a weird, twisted game between the two?
So, I clearly was delivered there for the groping, and as I've mentioned before, I had shared with Jeffrey Epstein that I was somewhat combative with men in the fashion industry, photographers, men even on the streets who are inappropriate, and I would fight back. And Jeffrey also knew that I had model agents who would reprimand me for standing up to, inappropriate behavior with men. So I believe I was walked in there as a bit of a challenge because Donald Trump, was notorious for touching women and as he did to me in his office, and as he shared on the Access Hollywood tape in his own words, what he can get away with women. So I believed I was walked in there as a challenge. And when I froze and didn't respond, I think Jeffrey got very upset about it. He expected a fight.
There's Stacy Williams telling her story again of the interaction she had with Donald Trump, where Jeffrey Epstein, as she pointed out in her words, delivered her up there to Donald Trump in a dark office building at nighttime before she began work for Jeffrey Epstein. I just want to show you guys again. That was her telling her story again, but it wasn't the first time.
There was an incident where Jeffrey asked me to go for a walk with him and then walk me into Trump Tower, where Donald proceeded to grope me while Jeffrey stood there and watched. And then afterwards, out on the street, Jeffrey berated me for allowing him to do it.
I'm considered number 27. I'm Donald Trump's 27th sexual assault victim. When I was doing Sports Illustrated, that's when he assaulted me. Jeffrey Epstein walked me into his office to be sexually assaulted by him.
We weren't listening when she kept telling those stories. We just weren't listening to them. So now that she's telling them again, and we're seeing all this other evidence that's coming forward to show how it is, now is the time, since the first time was to believe her then, I think now is the time to start believing all these folks that continue to come forward. Hey, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene is apparently, as everyone has been saying, been on a warpath against this MAGA regime. And there's just one person left out that she hasn't been on a warpath against. Maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene has finally turned a corner. Just listen to her.
Do you think President Trump has something to hide here?
I don't, because I believe the women, and the women have said over and over again that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Even Virginia Giuffre said it under oath, and she wrote it in her book. And so if we listen to the women, they say Donald Trump has done nothing wrong.
Was she listening to this woman named Stacy Williams? Was she listening to Maria Farmer?
You heard Jeffrey Epstein say to Donald Trump, "She's not for you." What was your reaction to that? What was going on in your head at the time about that? What did you think that meant?
Right. Well, I already felt kind of intimidated because it was in a dark office and I was alone with my new boss, to be, and this man that's a powerful businessman. And so I felt intimidated, but that's not why I reported him. I reported him because when Epstein came out of the office, I was making a face at him because I felt threatened. And so I went, and he kind of laughed and backed off. And as that was happening, Epstein walked out and said, "Oh, no, she's not here for you." And he emphasized, "She's not here for you." And he said, "Come with me." And he escorted him into another office. And I was like, "Who's in there?" And when he said, oh, I thought she was 16. I thought, is there a 16-year-old in there?
Well, she listened to the other folks who said that they've had interactions with Donald Trump. I played another video of a woman who said she was delivered to Donald Trump for the same instance that she was delivered to Jeffrey Epstein for trafficking purposes.
You met Donald Trump, is it right, through Ghislaine Maxwell?
Ghislaine Maxwell did introduce me to him, and she introduced me to him with a clear message of my being with him in the same way that she had trafficked me and brought me to Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm wondering at one point when this fire breather turning on her party, Marjorie Taylor Greene, is going to finally start believing the women. Because the one person that she doesn't believe is involved is the one that the women that she refuses to believe keep saying was involved. It's just weird how she never comes to the final thought about who it is that she's against. She's against Mike Johnson for sure. She's saying a lot of real things. I agree. She's saying a lot of things that make sense. She's blowing the lid off of all their schemes, the government shutdown, their lack of healthcare plans. She's been all over it. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been on fire. That is until that fire is Donald Trump. And then she's got nothing left for him. Matter of fact, she openly defends him like she just did there and uses those same women that she says she believes as the reasons why she doesn't believe them. Here's another woman. Her name is Julie Brown. She's an author, and she's written many things, as similarly Michael Wolff has, about these connections between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She's been sifting through, I think they said there's about 20,000 pieces of information that's been released just this week.
There are over 20,000 of them. One of the things that we noticed is if you check to see how many times Trump's name is contained in these documents, it's over 2,000 times that Trump's name is mentioned. Now, of course, this doesn't implicate him in any crimes or anything like that, but it does show how much room Trump held in Epstein's brain, so to speak, or how much Epstein was preoccupied with Trump. He mentions him virtually all the time, or people are emailing Epstein about Trump, trying to find out information as if Epstein is sort of the all-wise Trump expert. I think that this is why we need a Department of Justice and an FBI. I mean, quite frankly, this case should have never been closed. And there are still victims out there who have stories to tell about some of their abusers. So I think that it just puts a finer point on the fact that we need more answers, because these emails raise more questions.
It's good that she's not coming to full-on conclusions. She mentioned also in that interview that there's many people who are showing these excerpts of emails or one email with one response and all this. And she said it's a little bit dangerous because people are coming up with their own conclusions. I agree. It's a little odd, people coming up with their own conclusions, because there's just snippets and pieces of information. There's something that, folks can do. There's something that the Department of Justice can do. They can reveal a lot more of the information so that people don't have to assume, and Donald Trump doesn't have to whine and cry in the corner about how people are being unfair to him again, and calling this a hoax, that is, right before then saying that it's real only when it comes to targeting Democrats. By the way, for the 18th time, of the Democrats, powerful people that are left-leaning or centrist or whatever it is, or could be considered Donald Trump's enemies, if they're on the list, let's expose them. It's a real simple conclusion we can come to every time they come with that nonsense too.